we are a team dedicated to the divorce case. So while we have the ability to have our licenses as financial planners, we truly feel there's a conflict there. We are not wanting to manage money. We are wanting to manage your case and help you with the financial piece. So we work alongside attorneys like you, Cary, and we can help do a little bit of that more meticulous work while you can continue to do all the rest. So also if people are stuck, if they're coming up with that place where they cannot get to the next place, that we can come up with settlement solutions for them as well.
Welcome to Divorce Diaries, where attorney Cary Jacobson brings you real stories, hard truths, and practical advice on navigating divorce and family law. Whether you're going through it, considering it, or just curious, this is your place for clarity, confidence, and resilience.
Welcome back to another episode of Divorce Diaries Lessons from the Trenches. I'm your host, Cary Jacobson, attorney and mediator at Jacobson Family Law. Now, on this podcast, we share real-world stories, expert insights, and practical advice to help you navigate the challenges of divorce with clarity and confidence. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by Allison Terrill, an accomplished business leader, community advocate, and mom of three, who has turned her own difficult divorce into a mission to support others. After more than a decade of building successful businesses and top-performing sales team, Allison has co-founded Phoenix Financial Advocates and Soligree, two companies dedicated to helping people reduce financial and emotional trauma of divorce. Allison, I am so glad that you're here today, and I know your personal story and your professional mission will resonate with so many of our listeners.
Oh, thank you, Cary, for having me. I just love watching you help so many. And ever since the minute I met you, I just know that you're trying to help people navigate divorce differently and with just so much encouragement. And so thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you are here, and I would love for you to first share a little bit more about your personal story and what led you to kind of move into this divorce space.
Well, I never would have thought I would have been here. Of course, I don't think anyone gets married to think they'll go through a divorce. But back in 2020, similar to a Lifetime movie, I was blindsided by infidelity, and it was a 40th birthday, discovering some things I had never thought would happen, and then a global lockdown. So they always say the world doesn't stop when yours does, and in my case, it did. So it was a blessing to be able to clear the calendar and try to pick up the dust particles that happened, and so along the way, I worked really hard to try to save my marriage. And when it became not an option any longer, I had to get my attorney and go through the process. And I was not the financial person in my marriage. I was the one that passed that torch. And typically in most marriages, there's one person that doesn't really know the finances. And thankfully, I had a beautiful friend who worked for a divorce attorney. Her name was Joy. She drove down with 2 bags of groceries, sent me out of my office with my boys, and she organized all of my financials, highlighted, filed, put it in a box, and said, take this to your attorney. And at the end of my 3.5-year-long divorce, my attorney said, you have to help people the way Joy did. She was able to help me streamline costs, learn more about my finances. And so she became the muse of our company, Phoenix Financial Advocates. And I promised, God, if you brought me through this, I was not going to stop helping people navigate these waters, because it is overwhelming. And, you can think it's scary and hard, but then when you're in it, that's a whole nother level.
Right.
So you need the right teammates.
Yeah, that's such a powerful story of so much happening at one time, both personal as well as, the global pandemic and all of that at once. So I'm always so intrigued by those folks like yourself who have gone through such a traumatic situation and have come out and then vowed to assist others who are going through similar things.
Thank you. It's very rewarding because, when I hear their stories, I can feel it. I know exactly where they are. And I needed somebody to come in and say, you're going to be okay. We got you. I'll hold your hand. Let's get you to the other side and just try to navigate these waters.
Yeah, absolutely. So you had Joy that
Yes.
was there to be your personal assistant, kind of helping you with the finances. And we know that finances are such one of the biggest stressors in the divorce process.
Yes.
What are some of the most common financial pitfalls that you see now people running into?
Well, it's funny when I went to visited a few attorneys when I was trying to figure out who was going to help represent me. They kept saying the same thing, which was, Allison, and at the end of the day, it's just a math problem. And I was like, I don't feel like a math problem. I have two boys that are 9 and 11. It doesn't feel a lot like that. But what I've learned, and in the process, it is a lot about dividing up what you've accumulated as a
Right.
married couple. So things that are really what I think we get the most calls about is, I want to keep the house. Can I?
Mhm.
I don't know how much my life costs, so I don't know what to ask for support. My ex is telling me he'll give me this. So yeah, keeping the house. How much does my life cost? What is my What's going to happen to my retirement?
Mhm.
Also, if there's a family business, that needs to be divided up. We need to know the value of that business, so that comes into the conversation when we're dividing up what we've accumulated as a married couple. So those are kind of the top. And then the last one I'll say is, I think my soon-to-be ex is hiding money, or I think he's moving things around. How can I figure that out? So we can help with that as well.
Those are all common sentiments that we hear from clients as well. And I'd love for you to share with our listeners what role your team at Phoenix Financial Advocates plays in helping clients through those scenarios.
Yes, we can talk with anyone wherever you are in the process. If you're just starting or contemplating it, we can kind of show you a little bit about what to expect. We do not provide legal advice. We are the financial team. Our team is Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. I know your clients will see a lot of letters and numbers are all put together. So you'll see CDFA. Many people who have that designation are financial planners.
Mm-hmm.
We are a team dedicated to the divorce case. So while we have the ability to have our licenses as financial planners, we truly feel there's a conflict there. We are not wanting to manage money. We are wanting to manage your case and help you with the financial piece. So we work alongside attorneys like you, Cary, and we can help do a little bit of that more meticulous work while you can continue to do all the rest. So also, if people are stuck, if they're coming up with that place where they cannot get to the next place,
Mm-hmm.
we can come up with settlement solutions for them as well. And alongside their attorney, we work with their attorney's strategies to do so. So what they would do is they can come and they have a free consultation with me. I can find out where they are in the process, and then they would have a strategy session then with my partner and lead CDFA, Courtney McClellan. And by the end of that hour, hopefully they will have a clear understanding of what they need to find, what they can do. We try to empower them to be able to do it by themselves. If they still need our help, we'd love to help them do that as well, so we can take it to the next step. But so yeah, if they can come to us at any point, and we can start figuring out how we can move them forward.
That's so helpful. Now, I know that CDFAs and other professionals similar to that can work both as an advocate for someone who is, trying to learn more information, who is trying to posit themselves in negotiation or for court. But then there are other times when they will work as a neutral between couples. And so I just want to clarify how do you guys work? Do you work only in an advocacy role, only as a neutral, or both?
We can do both. So, and we love, hey, a perfect world is, hey, come together as a couple and let's try to lower the anxiety. Let's try to lower the stress, and let's just put everything on the table. We'll show you what your, according to the state law, what it looks like, what's on the table for equitable distribution. But yes, we can work individually. We are unbiased. And I love that part is we're the numbers people. We just are show you the information so that you can feel empowered. I feel it changes their posture a little bit, because there's not those things floating around that, things you've heard, like, you won't get this, you won't get that. Well, now you're going to know, and you're going to feel a little bit more confident in those conversations, whether it's with your ex or your attorney. And you'll just have a little bit better understanding of what is actually taking place with the equitable distribution.
Absolutely. And as many of our listeners know, we do a lot of mediation in our office, or settlement negotiation as an advocate for a client. And so there are many times where we will refer clients to work with CDFAs, especially when there are scenarios of spousal support or tax consequences that need to be dealt with. And then we can kind of take the pieces of the agreement that they have reached while working with you all and actually put it into the written marital settlement agreement. So it's not a one size fit all type situation.
And I think it makes the process for everyone involved, including you, so much smoother. Let's box it up, put the numbers together for you so you can have a clear screen, snapshot.
Yep.
So you're able to better do what you do, getting them through that process in mediations. But Courtney has attended mediations before, because sometimes it just gets real confusing in there.
Yes.
And sometimes numbers can get jumbled around and you're like, wait, wasn't it this? So, I get that question a lot. What do I expect in mediation? So if you feel like you would like to have somebody in there along with, we are able to do that as well.
Awesome. How do you help people make financial decisions that not only work for their current situation, right, but also set them up for long-term stability?
Well, that's what I think Courtney specializes in wonderfully, is that projection, because you have to start thinking of all those things that are going to happen down the road. When child support stops, you might still have alimony, or when does the support stop? What do you need to do? So we just try to educate them, and sometimes if they want to keep that house, yes, we've gotten really creative on helping them keep a house.
Yeah.
But we also just try to let them know all their scenarios and what each could look like. I call it the HGTV model. It's option A, option B, option C, for settlements, just to kind of give you an option of what it looks like down the road.
Right.
What about when your kids get cars? What about when they go to college? All of those things need to be organized and thought about right now, which is, can be overwhelming. So we just try to educate them, I think, with what's going to happen long term. We also have we call it Phoenix True North, which is post divorce. So now that when the settlement is complete, we can help you work with how can we make that settlement work harder for you? We can, lower your household bills, get you connected with a financial planner. We can help you with budgeting, because a lot of people just you're doing it all alone again. You're not, you're doing it by yourself. So we try to just encourage you along the way to try to make those better decisions and empower them with the education they know that they now have to think more about in the future, hopefully setting themselves up for success.
That's amazing. And I think that's something else that I would point to our listeners to, is that these are not the types of things that people who are going through a divorce in the court system are necessarily thinking through, right? And the court system doesn't take into consideration what your expenses are going to be in 5-10 years from now. It's really snapshot now, and that's really all we're dealing with. Whereas in these types of solutions, you can be so much more creative and think through all of the ramifications, not just from today, but also long term.
Right. It's funny. I was thinking, in my personal situation, my alimony and child support, was developed 5 years ago. And think about how much prices have increased in the last, even just for chicken salad or coffee. I have teenage boys. So, it's funny. You have to they take that into consideration about how costs will increase over the years. So there is definitely a lot to consider. So we are here to help with that little process.
Absolutely. Well, we know that divorce is not just about dividing assets, though that is, much of it. But as you mentioned before, when you were talking about, meeting with attorneys and them saying that it was just a math problem, we know that behind that is a real person and the emotions that go along with that. Fear, grief, sometimes guilt tied to financial decisions. How do you all help support the client's emotional needs and not just the financial needs?
Yeah, well, first of all, we just try to give that human side at the beginning. We wanted them to have a soft place to land, because, I think a lot of places we are Googling things or going to mom's groups. So we want to be that first stop to have a soft place to land. We're going to help you through this. we also have great relationships with coaches and therapists. I think that there needs to be, you need a team. You need
Right.
your legal team, you need a financial team, and you need emotional support team. And so we also can connect people with coaches. And then I have a dealing with divorce encouragement group on Facebook. I started 5 years ago before my companies, when I was going through it myself. And I needed somebody to tell me that you're going to make it.
Right.
You can get through this. So it's called the Dealing with Divorce and Encouragement Group for Women. And I have that on Facebook. So I try to also provide some, little snuggles, I like to say, some songs, just like, and the people ask questions, and, people are celebrating each other. So we're all just trying to trying to be our best selves as we go through this. And we need your support system changes. I don't think people know that as much. People you think will be there for you don't know how to be. So we try to, just working through this process that way as well.
That's amazing. Well, can you give or share anonymously an example of how your team's guidance has helped one of your clients, feel more empowered during this process that they've gone through?
I have two that stand out, so it'll be hard to pick, but one was, I think when you're the financially uninvolved spouse, you kind of get told things and you just are supposed to believe it. And you're kind of felt rushed, you felt pressured. And we had a client that was, hey, our business isn't worth anything, but I got this $800,000 investment that you can have. Just have that. And she was like, okay, I think that sounds pretty good, And we said, let's just take a look hold on a second. Let's take a look at everything. And Courtney was able to take a look at the numbers, realize that the company was not worth nothing. And through our research and our abilities and partnerships with our business valuation firm, we were able that company was worth $8.1 million. And we were able that settlement offer increased significantly.
Yes.
So that was huge. And then our second one, if I can let the tiebreaker know, the other one was a sweet girl who wanted to stay in her house and couldn't afford it alone, no matter how hard we tried. But her sister lived next door. Her parents lived down the street. So the house they were raising their kids together. So we were able to really come up with some great solutions for her to be able, with an agreement with her ex on how it could look, down the road, to help her to stay in her house while the kids were through school. So that was huge wins. That gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because that's those are the hard parts about divorce, when you have to break up things, even more parts of the family,
Great. Yeah. Well, I'd love to go back to the business side of things, because I don't think we talk about that very much. At least we haven't so far on our podcast. And share a little bit more about your involvement with being able to evaluate businesses, for folks who may be going through divorce, that then need to divide that, because it is also a marital asset in many scenarios.
Yes, it's an asset. And there's so many personal businesses these days with their, the entrepreneurial spirit is live these days. And what we found out through this process, I've learned so much. Business valuations are expensive. Very expensive. So if someone's saying it's not worth that, in North Carolina, where we are, and we work in all 50 states, but they could be anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000, depending on what it is. Some states are even higher. And so how terrible would it be to spend that and find out that the business is worth zero? But to spend that, to say that, it doesn't make any sense. So we always say that the universe was working with us, but we had a situation where we needed a business valuation, and we called the phone number, and literally the CEO answers the phone. And there's no way in any world would he have answered the phone. He loved what we were doing. He does not want to be in the divorce space. He works with multi-million-dollar acquisitions, but he had a heart to help. And so he has some industry disrupting software that we are able to use that is very efficient, it's extensive, but it's cost effective. So our business valuations run anywhere from $4,500 to $7,000, depending on the level. They're amazing for mediations, and our CDFAs have testified to them in court, but they are they can help answer some questions that need to be answered for your case for sure, and at a much lower cost, which is our goal.
Right. And especially in a scenario where you turn out that the business is worth $8 million. Money well spent. That is the common scenario. But it is typically more of an asset than people may necessarily realize.
Right.
And even for those folks who might be, kind of involved and understand the finances, it doesn't necessarily mean you understand how much a business is worth.
Right.
Sometimes even the owners of businesses don't know how much their business is worth. So, yeah.
And then things in the mediation room or wherever it can, that's what helps this dividing up, make it a little bit more, we can figure out things maybe a little bit more smoothly when we know the facts,
Right.
and I always say, we just need to know the numbers. We just need to put it out there and just divide it up.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who might be just starting the divorce process, are there, any financial steps that you suggest that they take right away?
Right away, I would call us, but I would start saving all documents that you can, because I think sometimes when the fight gets started or divorce gets thrown out, everyone starts clamoring, and things get hidden and lost. So anytime you can print statements or keep an eye out on your mail just to get a picture of, if you're a little unsure of what is going on, just try to accumulate that paperwork. And so that's the first thing. And then like I said, calling us, but just helping, we help to get that screenshot of what their expenses are. You need to start thinking about what you're spending. I always say every woman should have their own personal individual bank account from the get-go. A lot of people don't. I didn't. So things like that are very important to get started. And then when you need that plan to figure out what you need to do best to put your best financial foot forward through this, we are here to help, and we can give you a clear outline. And that's where Courtney shines.
Yeah. Well, why do you think it's so important to have the professional guidance through this process, especially when you're dealing with such a complicated matter such as divorce?
Yeah. So I feel that when you're coming through this, what our goal is to lower the trauma, lower the anxiety. So in any way where we can, like I said earlier, I think that once the big scaries are out of the way, you can start dealing with those next steps. And so those conversations with your attorney might be a little bit more calmer.
Right.
And you can start to understand a little bit about what's going to happen. And it is hard. And I'm not, I think we can both sit here and say it's hard to know that your life is going to change so significantly financially, because it will. It's just a different life that you're going to have. That doesn't mean you can't get through it. That doesn't mean you can't surround yourself with the right people to help you get on the other side and start moving forward to rebuilding, because it is a rebuilding all over, full process.
Yeah.
So I think, at the beginning, if you can have those first steps, we can start moving through this process and hopefully getting through it quicker.
Yeah.
And calmer.
Well, looking back on your own experience and journey, what is something that you wish you had known about the financial side of divorce before you went through it?
Ooh, honestly, for me, I wish that I knew all of my options for what litigation looked like. I think the society tells us, get the shark, go to fight. And, I was betrayed and I'm hurt and I need to keep my house and I need to keep. And so that's what society tells you. And, that adds immediately you're up here and you're operating. I think I operated in fight or flight for 18 months. And, I just didn't know all my options that could have possibly lowered my cost or lowered the time spent. So I think just knowing all of your options, and I think my case had to go the way it went. I do probably feel that way. But I do feel that I wish I would have known all my options so that we could, because I always say I'm, after a 3.5-year battle, I'm still not even scratching the surface of the original betrayal. I'm still mad at this 3.5-year fight. The longer it took, we found more things to fight about. It cost us significantly. And now we have a son who is about to go to college. So it's just that stuff always is still ringing in my head when I'm washing dishes. So I think just knowing that there are other solutions, and Cary, you do an amazing job of providing those solutions with mediations and things like that, and starting that process sooner, because when you're at the mercy of the court system, we were at the mercy of the court system. We couldn't get on the calendar. Everyone's schedules had to match up, and it was just, I just did not know.
Yeah.
Didn't know that that's what it was going to look like,
I agree. And I hear that story so often. And there are definitely situations, and it sounds like yours may have been one of them, where that is the path that it's going to take. But I don't think people necessarily know that they have options to begin with. And I think it is something that so many attorneys do their clients a disservice by not giving them the options so that the client can be the one to make the decision as to how they want to approach it. And that's really why we focus on those out of court resolutions, because unfortunately we saw that destruction, when I was litigating, and I don't want to continue that, but we have scenarios where, our clients, despite their efforts to resolve things outside of court, it has to go that way.
Right.
But we really try to rein it in first before it takes on a life of its own.
Yes, because sometimes, you have you don't even know if you have the money to go that length. So you can have that money maybe for a year, year and a half, but the 3.5 year, you've got to get real creative there. But, so that's what, and then so many things changed, like my ex ended up losing his job, and, so it changed everything. It changed everything. So I wish I would have known more cost effective, lower anxiety options and possibly utilize those first.
Understand. Mm-hmm. Well, Allison, thank you so much. Can you please share with our listeners how they can find you and your services so that they could look to see if you're a great fit for them?
Yes, you can email me at allison@phoenixfa.com. That's ALLISON @phoenixfa.com. We are named after the Phoenix Rising. Also, we have a lot of clients in Arizona now, but it's based on Phoenix from Rising from the Ashes. So we also have our website. You can schedule your free consultation there at www.phoenixfa.com. And we're also on, Instagram and Facebook under Phoenix Financial Advocates. And we would love the opportunity to just see where you are, see how we can help you. Our goal is to not think about it, as an extra cost, but we want to help you streamline the cost. So we would love to show you how we can help. We go at your pace. We are here to get you those baby steps and get you through the process. And we would love an opportunity to help.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks for joining us today and sharing both your personal journey as well as your now new professional mission. It's clear that your work at Phoenix Financial Advocate is helping people not only survive the financial aspects of divorce, but truly reclaim their lives with confidence. Yeah. And for our listeners, we'll be sure to link Allison's website to our show notes so that you can check her out and check out Phoenix Financial Advisors more closely. And if you're looking for more tools and resources to guide you through your own divorce journey, be sure to check out our Stand store at the link that we'll also put in the show notes. And you can find courses, guides, and any support that you may need moving forward. This has been Divorce Diaries, Lessons from the Trenches. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us today on this episode of Divorce Diaries. Remember, every journey is unique, but you don't have to navigate it alone. Visit JacobsonFamilyLaw.com or call 443-726-4912 for support and guidance.